What was the first album that you did for Aswad?
Oh, I think it might have been Showcase. There's an album called Showcase, which is essentially that logo that you're wearing, really. I didn't design that logo, but I stuck that logo on a. It was a very simple cover.
Okay.
And then there was one called Live and Direct, which there was very popular. Because you have to think back in time. There was kind of fashions for certain types of illustration, what was cool at the time, and these ladies, Donna Muir and Sue Huntley, created these kind of collage images, and they were like fine art meets commerciality. They actually, Donna Muir was teaching me at art college at one point, but it turned out she lives 3 doors down from me. And I went round to see her and just talked about that project. And she collaged this thing together it was a kind of street Notting Hill kind of vibe. So it was kind of very much a street kind of look to it. And it was a collage and it was very arty. And so that was the vibe for that one. I'm trying to think what else we did. It did like 54, 46 was my number, the single cover. And I did lots of covers for lots of singles. I mean, I worked on lots of things. And then the idea was to kind of take them out of the street vibe and get them a little bit more sophisticated, And I came up with this thing that they're the kings of reggae. So we're going to put a crown above their logo. We're going to create a special logo that's going to have a crown on, right? Because they're the kings, these guys. And that's where I got into making. I shot the Don't Turn Around cover. We sort of styled them up and made it much more kind of Vogue, sort of. These guys were dressed very cool, and we shot them. In fact, I was talking to Brizzy about that today. There's a stables a horse riding stable in a place called Aylesbury, and it's but near Chequers, where the Prime Minister has their kind of country residence, I remember. So we went down there and we photographed them with horses but wearing all the gear. It could have been a page out of a fashion magazine, and styled them up. And then took that idea further when it came to the video. I took them to Almeria in southern Spain, where they shot all the spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood, and so we based it around the deserts of they've got like a mini Grand Canyon there. So we went down there and we photographed around. We were down there for a few days and photographed them in and around those environments in the western town. And again, that was actually, I don't know what, but we shot that all on. I shot it myself on Super 8 camera, which again was probably a style thing. I'd probably do it completely differently now, but anyway, that was the vibe at the time. So we shot a little video there, and then we shot the London scenes it was supposed to be kind of home movie type vibe. That's what it was, yeah. And then we shot the kind of the clean performance type vibe in an apartment down on London Bridge. There's the guy who's in the band Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I don't know if you've heard of them, but
yes.
Yeah, well, it was his apartment, so he let us use his apartment, which is very cool. They'd been very successful, so we bought a really big kind of apartment, and we filmed in there. And the girl in it, who is in fact, she just messaged me actually, who I haven't spoken to for a long time, but Vanessa, she was called, and she was a stunning model who I'd photographed quite a few times. I used to have my little crew, so it was like Vanessa, we're off to Spain, it was, or she'd be doing a Skipworth and Turner cover, or, I had like, so anyway, we put Vanessa in the video, and she's stunning looking girl, and photographs incredibly well, and very sweet and everything. So yeah, that all worked out, and that was the first #1 record I'd worked on. So I always remember that, because when we finished editing the video, in central London. I came out and I came to get went over to my car, and somebody had smashed the window of my car and stolen my stereo.
Oh, wow.
And I was with the band, and they all they could say was, Bruno, this is a very good sign, right? You gotta be kidding, right? And they said, because I mean, they actually specialized, particularly Drummie, specialized in winding me up. You know, this was his thing with me. But he said a very good sign, because when something bad happens, something good happens, right? And I had an incredible stereo in this car. I mean, this was a better sound system than I had at home. But he was right, because the record actually went to #1, and we were all sort of like blown away by that, you know.
What can you tell me about Drummie?
Well, I knew him as he was just a lovely guy, to be honest. I really liked him a lot. You know, we got on very well. As I said, he used to really. He used to have a laugh, you know. That was the thing about him. I mean, apart from his talent, you know, incredibly talented guy, and he did some amazing things and some incredible vocals. But we always had a laugh, basically. That was the overriding thing with him, and so it was a pleasure to work with him. You know, I've got so many stories about him. I mean, I remember on one occasion when we went to. I told them, because they used to like a smoke back in those days, you know. And I said to him, we were going off to France, I think it was. And I said to him, look, you know, before we get on the plane, don't carry anything, right? Don't, whatever happens, don't. And I'm kind of lecturing him, and he turned around and he gave me. He was kind of like, you know, anything up? We travel, we're international, we do this, and he kind of gave me all this kind of attack, and put me in my place, right? And then I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I didn't want to get him busted, because we had to go and shoot a video, right? And when we turned up in France, I'd hired a car, and I got in the car in the front of the car, and I'm driving away, and then this waft of smoke comes from behind the car, from behind me. They're sitting in the back, and it was like the whole thing, you know. So I always remember. I thought that was a classic moment. But yeah, he was just an incredible guy. So sad that he went. Yeah, I went to his funeral actually, and it was amazing, the turnout and the vibe there. He was really well respected. You know, it's like, you know, when you go to these things and you realise actually he's much bigger than, you know. It was packed. In fact, they wouldn't even let us in when we got there, because it was so busy. And then somebody let us in around the side, and we saw it. But and then you start hearing all these stories about him, you know, and how he played with Bob Marley, and all the incredible things that this guy achieved. Yeah, very sad, actually. Very sad that he's gone.
Yeah, it really shocked me when I heard. I did not expect him, out of all people, to pass away so soon, you know.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's such a shame.